Late last night, Donald Trump announced that he would be making a very significant and more than likely disastrous change to the Affordable Care Act, which he put out a press release for and then did. The press release read in part, the Department of Health and Human Services has concluded that there is no appropriation for cost sharing reduction payments to insurance companies under Obamacare. In light of this analysis, the government cannot lawfully make the cost sharing reduction payments. If you're not entirely sure what that means, because it's weird speak, basically there are these incredibly important federal subsidies that go to make sure that the lowest income Americans can afford to pay for their health insurance. That's a fundamental and incredibly important part of the Affordable Care Act, which will now apparently be cut out. People who earn too much money to qualify for Medicaid, but are still low income, so this is up to 250% of the federal poverty line, which is still very low income, you can receive these so-called CSRs. Now, we're gonna break down all the reasons that cutting out these subsidies is disastrous, why it's intentionally disastrous. But immediately it's a problem because many insurance companies finalize their premiums for the upcoming year in late September. Now, some of them, thankfully, because there's been so much uncertainty over the course of this year about whether those subsidies would simply vanish from one day to the next, a lot of the companies have come up with two sets of potential premiums based on the subsidies existing and not existing, which means that theoretically they might have made some moves that would mitigate some of the damage and rise in premiums from this change. But at least 14 major insurance companies apparently did not do that, which means that now you're not just gonna have a rise in your premiums as a result of this if you were in that CSR category. You're gonna have a drastic, significant rise as they scramble to make ends meet now that this move has been announced.
Yeah, so he did a trifecta here of damage, which is, I guess, normal for Donald Trump. And part of this, I have to be honest with you, like I like to clarify, I dive in and then I try to make it simpler for you guys. But I read about 8 articles and I don't understand how he pulled this off. So your prices are generally gonna go up 20 to 25%. 20% now, so as John pointed out, it's month to month sometimes. So it might be next month that your prices go up, depending on if it got baked into the price or not. By the way, let me just pause there for a second, because that's a really important point. You were mad at Obamacare because the prices kept going up. Part of it was because they already increased the prices because of Trump's earlier threats that he was gonna do this. So, Obamacare, the prices are up. By the way, some of that is merited. The other part of it was, no, it was because Trump said, hey, I'm gonna destroy Obamacare. This is how I'm gonna destroy Obamacare, and you're gonna need to increase prices. So they already baked that in. You should have been, so go ahead and preemptively get angry at Trump, okay? Or in hindsight, get angry at Trump. Anyway, now let's look forward.
Postemptively.
Postemptively, okay. To make up a word that Trump would enjoy. Trump would enjoy / not understand. Okay.
/ then claim he invented.
Right. So now to the heart of it, the thing that I can't understand is he somehow managed to increase your prices by 20% and increase the deficit by $200 billion.
Yeah.
How is that possible? And I kept reading it and rereading it, but he is a magician. If you need something screwed up royally in a way that you can't even comprehend, you bring in Donald Trump, and he'll find a way to do that.
Yeah.
Because now that money is going to have to be paid out of the feds, right? Is that what's happening?
No, but your premiums are going up anyway, though. So that's the thing. So the government was helping the insurance companies, not because it wanted to help insurance companies, but because that was to offset the cost for really poor people who have this. And this does affect poor people more than middle class, okay? So the Republicans like, yes, who cares about poor people, right?
Yeah.
So now once that money's taken away, the insurance companies go, well, okay, since that doesn't exist anymore, I have to increase your premiums. That part I understand. How in the world that increases deficit?
Yeah, so the reason that it increases the deficit is the way that it worked now is you would receive this money from the federal government, which would lower your premiums. Now your premiums are gonna be higher, but there's already a stipulation that you can deduct from your taxes some of these premiums that you pay. Since you'll be paying more, that means that you'll be paying less in taxes specifically. You'll still be paying much more overall, and so the federal government will lose out on that money that they would have otherwise gotten in taxes.
It's
the tax credits that do it.
All right.
I mean, for all we know, maybe he'll eliminate those two. I don't know. He seems dead set on screwing over his voters, that's for sure.
And then the trifecta part, the last part is now the markets are way more unstable for health insurance. So some of those insurance companies that in their mind weren't making enough money, now they're gonna make even less money, their margins are gonna be smaller, and they might go, nah, I'm just not gonna provide individual health insurance.
Yeah.
which then limits your choices and screws you over even further. And destabilizes the whole thing, and then he'll turn around and go, "You see that Obamacare is imploding."
Yeah.
No, you made it implode. So it's an unbelievable way of doing untold damage in several different ways. And by the way, so let's now focus on what does it help? Nothing.
It only helps undo the Obama legacy.
Yes. So in terms of, well, how does it help you with your insurance? They can't even make a claim. They can't with a straight face say it'll lower premiums or give you more benefits or any of the things that they promised. They don't even make that claim. The only thing they're saying is, ha, 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 we're destroying Obamacare.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I wish that we could do the entire hour on this because it's obviously so important. There's so many elements to it. You alluded to this, but when I posted that this was going to lead to increased premiums, some Trump supporters who refuse to realize that they've been hoodwinked and screwed over respond with, well, premiums have been going up. Yes, premiums have been going up, but you should be able to distinguish between the natural growth in premiums from our effed up healthcare system on the one hand, and the politician you support intentionally raising your premiums with a stroke of his pen. Those are two different things. One doesn't seem quite as necessary, honestly. Overall, it's expected that at least 1 million people will go off of insurance as a result of this. And really fast, because we talked about this earlier. This is not the only change that came to the Affordable Care Act just this week alone. There were other changes a day ago. When we say that this is going to increase your premiums by 20%, we don't mean your premiums are only going to go up 20% from all of the stuff that have happened. We mean this one is going to raise it by 20%. The knock-on effects, the long-term effects of yesterday's change, which is going to take healthy people out of the pool and raise the cost overall for other people, that's a totally separate increase to your premiums that's going to happen. So God only knows what your bills are going to look like next year.
And John, thank you for reminding me. I forgot the fourth way that it damages you is that 1 million people lose insurance.
Yeah, I mean, just from this, not overall. More people will lose insurance overall when the entire system collapses. That's from this.
Yeah, there was certainly so much wrong with Obamacare. It was, it was a insurance company grab. It seemed it was obviously something that, and the insurance companies with big money behind them have been able to really determine what is healthcare policy in this country for a long time. So even this Obamacare, which did bring all of this insurance to additional people, and those people who are below the poverty line were provided with these supplements, and those supplements are now going away. But it was a flawed policy. But Trump has taken this flawed policy and he's really torched it in a way so as to take it, as I say, take something that's already flawed and just turn it on its side. So it really doesn't have a chance to sustain itself in any way. And we're going to get to a couple other aspects, I know, where the law falls short now.
Yeah. So one quick thing about that. The problem we have is that our side is honest, so we will talk to you about the flaws of Obamacare. In fact, I want to touch on that a little bit more now. Their side is not honest, so they say their proposals, which are disastrous, they go, no, it's wonderful, it's the best thing you're ever gonna have. You losing your insurance is wonderful for you, okay? Your premium is going up by 20 to 25%, that's great for you, right? And they don't acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge any part of it, and they just lie over and over. And when we are honest about it, people go, oh, okay, everybody admits Obamacare is bad, but only half the people admit that Trump care is a disaster. And that's just not true. Every proposal of Trump has cost people their insurance and increased premiums, at least for people who are not young and healthy. And by the way, as I explained on the show yesterday, it's a trap. The thing that he did yesterday allows you to think, oh, I got a little bit cheaper insurance. It only lasts for 3 months, but that's okay. Except that the minute you get sick, they don't renew. Then you got a pre-existing condition and you're screwed, which means you don't actually have insurance.
Yeah, that was clearly the big thing with Obamacare, that the pre-existing condition clause was huge for so many people. I know you have met them, and I know you've met them, and I've met them. People whose lives are literally saved by that one fact, that pre-existing. Now, this is the beginning of an unraveling that could really affect lives. Not that Trump has ever met or will ever meet any of the people who will be affected.
Sorry, one more thing about the Republicans is that they know how bad it is. They're not saying it publicly, but they noted concern for Republicans in Congress for the 2018 elections, Now, why would you be concerned if your plan is better and it brought people lower insurance and better benefits like you pretended?
Yeah.
Why would you be concerned? And they're concerned that he did it through an executive order because it didn't go through Congress because it might lose them their seats. They're concerned about their seats because the plan is way worse. That's why they're concerned.
Yeah, it's not like if it had been as a result of a bill that someone lost their house, they'd be like, well, at least it wasn't an executive order. Yeah, you brought this up, and I do want to double down on it with one more graphic. What the actual effect of just this change, not all of the changes that are happening, just this change, what effect it'll actually have on people's lives with one more graphic. This is graphic 21. The average deductible this is before this change. The average deductible for those with incomes below 150% of the poverty line drops from $3,609 to $255. That's a huge amount of money. For the next category, it drops down a little bit less, but still a gigantic. But I want to look at that first one. Because right there, if you do some quick math in your head, you'll see that the CSRs dropped the deductible $3,400. But when you're at 150% or below of the poverty line, that isn't $3,400 because in many cases, you're not going to be able to pay it without that. It's not $3,400. It's bankruptcy, it's homelessness, and in many cases, it's death. It's not a dollar value, it's a fundamental change to your entire life and your family's entire life. And to callously throw this out there because it's part of Obama's legacy to just destroy it without even acknowledging the lives you'll destroy is incredibly craven even by Donald Trump standards.
And finally, you know, the Obamacare's upside is it protected you, right? You weren't, if you had a pre-existing condition, you weren't gonna die anymore. That's a big deal. And if you were 150% or around the poverty line, as John just described, you make very, very little money. Now you're working poor, right? You're not a bum, you're working hard and you're making money, but you're not making enough money. And you don't have that $3,400 lying around. I think the number is something like 75% of Americans are only $700 away from bankruptcy. That is unreal for the people in power.
That's about 1/4 of the difference in your deductible.
That's right. So and that's what I keep trying to explain to the people in power. They don't have those problems. They can't understand those problems. They literally don't believe those problems, and then they wonder why the country's angry. So Trump is playing with your life there. On the other hand, so as good as those provisions in Obamacare are, my God, did they make it so complicated. Just look, Medicare is lower premiums, higher benefits, covers everyone. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Just do Medicare for all. And politically, it helps you 60%. So as Trump is chipping away at Obamacare and trying to dismantle it one by one, Democrats, this is the time. They're so scared. Sometimes they're so pathetic. You know, there's all these articles out now like, oh, Bernie Sanders, he's proposing this, and now because it's so popular among progressives, some of the Democrats have to pretend to be in favor of it. But you know, it gives the Republicans ammunition to counterattack. What with
they just did? They attacked you.
First of all, the Republicans always attack. Okay. Second of all, they're destroying healthcare. Third of all, they're going to counterattack you on a position where you have 60% popularity. If you can't defend that position, you're terrible. So for God's sake, take action to fix it. The way to fix it is not to make it more complicated. It's to give us Medicare for all. And I promise you guys that if Trump actually did anything decent, like for example, he promised to take away the fact that we can't negotiate drug prices in Medicare. Now, that's part of Obamacare. It's an absolute outrage. It's totally wrong. Bush had done the same thing. Obama said he would stop it and he didn't, okay? And now Trump said he would stop it and he didn't because they're all bought by these drug companies and it's gross. And if Trump had killed that part of Obamacare, I would have loved it. Right, and we would tell you about
that one part.
That one part, right?
Overall, it's still be
yes, but that would save us untold billions of dollars, maybe even trillions. It's a giant part of the equation, and it's a monopoly they don't deserve. But Trump, of course, didn't do the one thing that could help, even though he promised it. He did the exact opposite and screwed you over on your insurance. That's the reality. Watch the Young Turks commercial-free. Download it or stream it. Watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.